Purgatory 1. Is purgatory a Catholic invention of the Middle Ages? Is purgatory an invention of the Middle Ages within the Catholic Church? Why am I first of all dealing with such a question? Because for 50 years this is the supported thesis, moreover in doctoral thesis and in master's thesis, which runs everywhere within the Catholic Church. Well, it is just plain incorrect and wrong. What was defined in the Middle Ages is dogmatically by an infallible decree the existence of purgatory. But purgatory is not even an invention from within Christianity, since it is a discovery of the Judaism, late Judaism, of course, Greek Judaism. We also see it mentioned within the Catholic Bible in the second book of Maccabees, in chapter 12, verse 39. This is the story being told. Brother Maccabeus used it to fight the Greeks who wanted to impose their customs upon them through ambushes, a bit similar to Duke Guesclin, which occurred during the 100 Years' War. And lo and behold, that day, unbelievably, a whole series of Jewish soldiers were killed in action. It didn't happen. The next day, we will collect the bodies and we realize the cause. They all wore a long necklace around their necks, an amulet to an idol, the idol of Jamnia. So they understand. They say to themselves they did not trust God. It had been a serious sin. Muslims say that association is the sin that will never be forgiven, neither in this world nor in the next. The Jews, far from saying that, made a contribution among themselves and sent an offering to the temple of Jerusalem so that their sin was forgiven. And so the Bible commences by saying, if the brave soldiers had not believed in the resurrection of the dead, they would never have performed such an act so near the temple. We see at the same time that this is the indulgence of God, which is thereby first mentioned in this text. We obviously understand, therefore, why in the Protestant Bible these books written in Greek are no longer present. This doctrine of purgatory resulting from, at the time of Jesus, the Pharisees will obviously be received and blessed by Jesus. We have very clear texts within which he speaks of this purgatory when he says, for example, in the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 12, verse 58, make haste to be reconciled with your brother as long as you are on the way, implied on earth, because when you reach the end of the path, be assured that the judge will deliver you to the executioner, and the executioner will put you in prison, and there I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid every last penny. It is from this text that is present the depths of penalties which must be purified, paid while in purgatory. St. Paul also speaks of this in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 15. He demonstrates how poor sinners will be saved. He said each work will be judged by fire, and those who have built their house with straw and wood will see their work consumed. As for those people who will have built their house in this way on vain things of this world, they will be saved, but as through a fire, the fire of purgatory. We see that there is a text there which indicates something like a purification which occurs after that, but I believe that among other texts that I could quote, the deepest of the texts which states and which describes purgatory, it is of course the parable of Lazarus and the rich person. A poor man was at the foot of a house, and a rich man ate all the time, and the poor would have liked to eat the scraps that were given to the dogs. One day the poor man died and found himself with Abraham in a paradise called Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was led to a place of suffering, and there from afar he begged Abraham to send Lazarus to him and to dip his finger in the water they had to touch his tongue. He was so thirsty. Abraham replied, "There is a distance between you and us. We cannot come to your place, nor you to us." Then the rich man begged, "At least send Lazarus to my brothers to warn them that they do not come to this place of torture and pain." Abraham answered him, "They have the prophets. If they didn't believe in the prophets, even thought a dead man was raised, they wouldn't believe it now." For centuries it had been believed that this text referred to the hell of the damned. Now this rich man's soul, when you look at him who is repentant, he thirsts for grace and he wants to forewarn his brothers so that they themselves do not arrive in this place of torment. This is not at all the attitude of the damned. A damned person, on the contrary, desires that all the people join him in hell in order to be so numerous so that God may change his plan. That God changes all his plans. Pope Benedict XVI, however, for the first time in Special V at number 44, states that this text allowed the church little by little to build this concept of purgatory.